Hi, thanks for joining me. Today we're going to talk about the levels of organization within ecosystems. They call this ecological organization. So we're going to start by talking about one individual organism. That's an individual member of a species. This could be like our picture here, a caribou? So when you're referring to an individual, that's the organism, and then all of one kind of species, that's a specific kind of species. That's when you get to population. Population is all the same kind of species that live in that area that you're talking about. Moving out to a larger circle, this is the community. So you'll see now that we have caribou, we have moose, we have wolves, beaver, owls, and bunnies. This is also going to include the plants that they eat. So a community is every living thing in that area. So it does include plants. Moving out to the ecosystem, it's going to be everything that we've already had so far, all the animals, all the plants, but it's also going to be the abiotic things, the non-living things. That's going to include the rocks and the water and the sun, the temperatures, all the things that are not living but are necessary for life to be there. Next, we're going to move out to the biome. The biome is that whole area where something lives. Like this would be a forest biome. There's also tropical, there's the frozen tundra. So there's different biomes throughout our Earth. And then the last one is biosphere. And the biosphere is the same for everything on Earth because our biosphere is all those biomes and ecosystems, communities, populations, and individuals in one area. So the biosphere is always Earth, the whole thing, when you're talking about it on our planet anyway. Okay, so let's write some of these down. Let's going to start with organism. I said organism instead of one type of species because that kind of helps separate it out from our next one. So if you'll fill in your blanks with me, I'm going to go ahead and talk around you, but you just fill it in as you're going. So starting again with the smallest, and I've labeled it there, an organism is a single example of one species. So example I used was a clownfish, one single clownfish, which is like Nemo from Finding Nemo. Okay, so if something happens to our one organism, it might not affect all of the others of his type. The other clownfish might be okay. All right, moving up one, we go to the population. That's a very specific word, and it's going to mean all the clownfish in that area. If a population of clownfish were affected, that would mean all the clownfish in the area were affected, like a disease that only affected clownfish. So when you're talking about the whole clownfish population, this is a much larger amount. But again, it is specific to whatever ecosystem you're talking about. Ecosystems can be very small, like a little micro ecosystem, like a drop of water, or it could be a large ocean. So there's different sizes where you could find a population. So moving down into the community, now we're going to include all the different types of species in that area. And remember, that's going to include plants. So this is clownfish, sea anemones, the predators that they have to watch out for, the plants that they eat and hide in. So that's going to be all the living things, all the living organisms, all the different living species found there. That's going to be a really large amount of living things. And then the next one down is ecosystem. So this is going to be all the above and the non-living parts in the area. The water, the sunlight, the ground or ocean floor, the rocks. All of that is necessary and needed, but it is not living. They don't change and grow and that kind of thing. And then finally, the biosphere is the largest one. I think the picture before listed biome. But yeah, the biomes are are more specific on Earth, but then the largest is always biosphere. This is all that your book said you needed to know, so that's how I broke them down. So biosphere is the largest. It's all the ecosystems on the planet, but that's going to include all those biomes that I left out: the tundra, the forests, the tropical, things like that. And they all have their specific climates, their specific temperatures, fluctuations, but it's all going to be part of the biosphere. So let's do the same thing for you. Okay? So your organization in our current ecosystem, your organism, you're the smallest part of this organization, so you, or in your case, right, me. Your population, we're going to keep it specific to where you live, so all the humans in your neighborhood. That's the population of humans that live around you. Your community is going to be all the other living things. So all the humans, the pets, the plants, the birds, the insects in your neighborhood. That's going to be your community. Your ecosystem is all that above, all the communities, but also the water, the soil, the rocks, the water, in our cases, the houses. And then finally, our biome is the north deciduous forest, I think. We're also coastal, if you want to get a little bit more specific about it. But of course, our biosphere is Earth. So just a little short overview of how things are organized. You want to remember which ones are smallest and how they move up. You want to remember that community is a larger circle than population. Ecosystems a larger circle than community or population. Biomes right here, although your book didn't mention it. And then biosphere is all the way at the top. All right. Thanks for joining me. Have a good day.